Mhm. What's going on, everybody? It's another day of live, another week of live. It's been a couple of weeks. I have not been here. And yeah, what was it that I was doing? And we have here the gentleman in the house, Ham Boney, otherwise known as Hannibal, named after Hannibal Smith of the A Team. Anyways, that's our riding partner for today. And yeah. So it's another great inglorious day right here in the D. And isn't that right? Yeah. So let's see here. If we want to welcome all of our subscribers, all 600 and something plus. You know, we're trying to grow the channel here. So if you are brand new to the channel, or if you've watching the replay or watching the live stream, just go ahead and mash that subscribe button. It's completely free. And after you mash that subscribe button, mash that notification bell. That way that you don't miss out on any of the notifications of when we go live or when we upload a new video. You just hit them both, you know, the subscribe button, the notification bell, and then you're done with it. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Anyways, and we really appreciate all of our subscribers and returning viewers and everybody else like that who checks out the Detroit Diz. It's a wonderful thing. We really, 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 really appreciate each one of you. Anyways, so thank you very, 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 very much for watching us every single week. So we have some things to talk about. Oh boy, we do. No, I'm just joking. Oh, we do. We have some Disney things to talk about. But before we get started, we can talk about Detroit a little bit. We can do that. That's an okay thing. So let's just go ahead and talk about Detroit. So Detroit is I think the Pistons, the basketball team. You know, we had the Lions, you know, they were a winning team. Now the Pistons are possibly making it in. I'm not a big Pistons viewer. There were so many. I haven't watched the Pistons have a basketball game in the longest time. But yeah, the Pistons are, I believe, going to be making the playoffs. I don't know I think it's maybe the first time in a while. That's awesomely great. So I'm excited because I'm not sure the Red Wings have made it into the playoffs. I'm just saying for what it's worth. Anyways, let's see here. So then, let's hear what else is going on in Detroit. Springtime is coming. And a lot of events are taking place pretty soon, like on March, for St. Patrick's Day. We have the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I haven't been to one of those ever. Maybe I'll go down and check out the Detroit St. Patrick's Day Parade. But one of the places, since it's getting warmer, one of the places that we'll be checking out again is the Detroit Zoo. The Detroit Zoo videos seem to do really well on our channel. People love the Detroit Zoo. We just put up a video about the wild lights. It's the Detroit Zoo's holiday lights. There's hundreds of thousands of lights that the Detroit Zoo puts up. They're all over the place. They're great. 30-minute video, great music, and great lights. Go ahead and indulge yourself into the experience of the Detroit Zoo's wild lights of the video that we just put up like about a week ago. Yeah, the Detroit Zoo wild lights. Go ahead and watch that. It's a great video. I'm pretty proud of it. We did some great editing. So, but pretty soon we'll go live at the Detroit Zoo, and I cannot wait to show you all the animals. There was a long time. I'll try to play it maybe next time. Next week I'll get it geared up. We can do next week. I'll try to gear it up. We can show you the old Detroit Zoo commercial. We can share it with everybody. It's one of the greatest commercials in Detroit history. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. What do we do? Okay, let's do some talking. So I watched this. I read this article, and it talked about the Detroit. I mean, not the Detroit. I'm sorry. It talked about Disney Mainstreet on having a bunch of big changes, right? And it's hard to, I get all these news stories from all over different places. They're delivered via Google alerts. I read them every single day. I go to Twitter and I watch a lot. I read a lot of news stories about Disney. And, what I have to say about this is that not all the stories are really, I think people may be grasping to come up with some type of brand new content of news stories for Disney, because there's only so much you could talk about. But, hey, it is. But this story that I read was talking about changes that have been made to Mainstreet in Walt Disney World in Florida. And one of the changes that they had was right here, the Emporium. Everybody goes to the Emporium. That's where you go to. It's one of the biggest shopping places in the Magic Kingdom, the Emporium. And specifically, they were talking about how they moved everything and basically revamped the inside. And they've created these a bigger space there. It really isn't bigger. It gives the illusion of it being bigger, but it is bigger. It's like a TARDIS. It's bigger in the inside. So it's bigger on the inside, and I think that's great. I do like the clean aisles. The aisles are great. There's tons of thousands of people that come through the Emporium every single day, and people with wheelchairs, people with of all sorts of sizes, and disabilities and whatnot. And why not have the Emporium have a cleaner look that it's easier to walk through? This probably is one of the best things that Disney has done in a while that makes it way better for people that are shopping in the Emporium. I would say that this is probably the outline, this neatness here. Let me even make it full screen for you. This is probably going to be the layout for a lot new places that they're going to try to declutter and make things easier for people to get through. So I think that's a definite positive thing. And yeah. So that's an interesting article. Yeah. So I want to talk about just released is Tinkerbell's talking about the Emporium. You can now buy this collection of Tinkerbell items because Tinkerbell, I think it's Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell is being it's like a birthday for Tinkerbell. I think it's like 50 years or whatever it is. And so yeah, we have a lot of items for Tinkerbell. I love Tink. But I do like the color. The color is like this I love greens. Yeah, I was in the army. What can I say? I love green. Look, my microphone is partially green. You know what I'm saying? My cords are lime green. Lime green. It's great stuff. And anyways, so nothing beats a pair of these lime green ears. That's right. And the lime green ears are really nice, except it looks like this is like one of these with just I know those things are really what I want to have these shiny, reflective kind of circles on them. I know that's what they are, but in this photo, it looks like to me like because of the way that that the light is, that it looks like someone's eating a chocolate chip and mint, ball of something or other. So that's pretty interesting. So I think that's it looks delicious, but it is not. I know it's not. Anyways, I like the ears. What do you think about? I remember a while back they had a bag that was very similar like this bag. This is the mini backpack Loungefly. It's $100. $100 for a Loungefly is nothing, especially looking at, like this particular Loungefly. It is got it's close to being emerald. And I know they had an emerald one at one point in time, right? But this is looking great, and I like it. It looks really I like the color. It's a really nice color. It's very fancy looking. I like fancy looking things from Disney that look, I think sparkly and great. I mean, it's nothing that a man would wear, but I like it, I mean, I wouldn't be able to fit hardly anything in this Loungefly. I think many adults would say that these Loungeflies that are very small, maybe they should. Here's my idea. If Disney is listening, get with Loungefly and tell them you want bigger, like maybe they should have two sizes of Loungefly backpacks. They should have the current Loungefly mini backpack and then make the exact same Loungefly backpack instead of $100, $150 or $160 or something like that, and make them bigger so adults can wear them. This is more like a purse kind of thing. I don't know, maybe it is or not, but I'm just saying that I think that more adults would buy them if they were bigger and they would wear them around. I mean, I know, that's just my opinion. They would be more useful to wear around the parks. Most people collect them, and most people just collect them, and they just, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, yeah. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So there was a rumor. Okay, I'm going to add this here. And well, first of all, we'll talk about the greatest place on the in Epcot that's not available for you to ride right now is Test Track. I just heard today that Test Track, from watching Prince Charming Dev, that Test Track is going to be opening sooner than later, which is a great thing because we need some rides in Epcot to come back. I know that there's rides in the back at the World Showcase. For instance, the Grand Fiesta ride in Mexico. It's being refurbished. You know, if you remember a couple of years ago, not this year, but the year before, like Donald Duck stopped working and was doing repeat motions. And his and part of it wasn't working and they had to fix it. So it was time. Maybe they're going to put in better screens for like HD LED screens for parts of the, where it's on like a screen, the Grand Fiesta. I don't know what they're going to do. Anyways, but Test Track, it's no longer going to be, I think it's Chevrolet or one of the two. It's going to be GM or Chevrolet. I can't remember which one it is. It's the same company. GM owns Chevrolet. It's going to be Chevrolet. And it's going to be great. I hope that it looks more futuristic. And I hope that the ride is a lot better looking and it gives you more interactive stuff. I think it's going to be looking great. And I want the cars to look more sportier. I don't know. A lot of electric cars look sportier. Maybe it's going to be, I think that's going to be the thing. I cannot wait for it to open. They're redoing the whole facade. They're still working on it, and it's going to look great and wonderful when it gets done. I'm sure it is. I cannot wait. But Epcot is kind of doesn't have a lot of things to do these days, other than Soarin', and some other things. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about this. This was let's add. Let's see. Well, add this. If you did not know, this here is accordingly Disney's bumpiest ride. I thought that it probably comes in tie. I say tie. It probably has a tie with Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is pretty bumpy, very similar to Dinosaur. It has that. It feels like you're on a. Here, let me show you here. When you're in this chair and you're like bouncing around, that's how Winnie the Pooh is. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, Dinosaur. It's kind of like the same way. It's very bumpy. I don't know why. I don't know why it is like that. I think that it adds an enhancement to being scared. And I gotta say, some people have said that Winnie the Pooh ride is scary. I don't get that. Maybe it's because of all the bouncing, the jittering, but kids like bouncy things. I'm just saying. And I think kids love bouncy rides, and why not? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rides that are kind of dark, and I think that's what they are saying about the Winnie the Pooh ride. But Dinosaur is pretty scary. It even has it has one of those warning labels, when you go into the ride, in case bright lights going on, in case you have some type of medical problems with lights, it could race your heart, give you heart problems. One of those rides, but it's only going to be lasting till 2026. They're going to demolish it then. And I hope that everybody gives Dinosaur just as much loving as they did any other ride that's been taken down. And I hope everybody rides it forever that day. Anyways, so yeah, enough about Dinosaur. It's becoming extinct. Yeah, we'll talk about this right quick. Okay. Let me make this bigger. Let's see here. Let's zoom in. Wow, that's big. The most expensive Disney World ticket cost up to $900 an hour. This is written by All Ears. It's a website that has lots of Disney news and articles about things about everything about Disney. Um, but they wrote this article about the most expensive Disney World tickets cost up to $900 an hour. There was just a recent article that I read talking about the difference between Premier Lightning Pass and the VIP tickets. There is no comparison whatsoever. If it was me and you don't care about getting a VIP tour where, yes, they do take you to the back of the line through the back route of whatever, the secret VIP entrance. And people probably don't look at you like like you're something or somebody. Then go with Lightning Lane Premier. Way cheaper. Except the VIP, the VIP tour probably, it's 400 to something it says, it's here, it says $450 to $900 an hour. But here's the kicker, right? That's for 10 people. You can get 10 people on this VIP tour. 10 people on a VIP tour. I think that's a good idea. At $900, $450 an hour. Let's say you picked up something in between $700 an hour and you split it by 10. That's less than $100 an hour to have a VIP tour. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? If you go for 4 hours on a VIP tour, you can hit up. That's half the day. Even if you did 100 hours, $900 for the entire day versus $900 an hour was way better if you split it all up with other people. And I think that if I was going to spend, let's say I was going to buy Lightning Lane Premier for $450, right? And I could do if I went with 10 people and I split the cost for VIP tour, and then I split that up with with the 10 people, and we got it down where you would only be, for two, if you did Lightning Lane Premier for 2 parks, it would be almost $900. So if I had VIP Premier and I did it for 8 hours and I spent, $900 for 8 hours, I could go to I could go to the same 2 parks and have VIP treatment. You just drive in between 2. They take you, the special secret route in between parks. Zoom, 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 zoom. You're there. Bada bing, bada boom. You go to the secret entrances. There's no crowd that you have to go through. They take you and they drive you up. Yeah, I would pay for that instead of Lightning Lane Premier if I could find 10 people to go with who wanted to pay that much also. I think it would be some of the best money spent. And I'm just saying. So that's just something to think about when you're planning your trip to go to Walt Disney World. About logistically trying to get the cost down so you can go and have the greatest experience ever. I'm just saying. So, what else is going on? Let's talk about this one thing. I think this is very, very important. This was probably one of the biggest news things that came out this week about Walt Disney World. Let's check it out. Let's add it. There was an article from like Inside the Magic or somebody, but it's been shared all over the place, right? And it says that the Disney Animated Studios is no longer going to be making movies for Disney Plus. And I had to scratch my head. This took a while. I mean, a couple days to sink in. I was like, what the heck? Disney Animated Studios makes all of the animated series and cartoon, everything for Disney Plus. Wow. right? So one of the things that were supposed to be happening is that Tiana's Bayou Adventures was supposed to be having a animated, I don't know if it was a series or it was a movie or something like that. It was like something that was, I think it was a series because that's usually what they have. Like they usually what they've been doing at Disney Plus is doing these kind of like introducing the background stories of different characters in different movies, right? And so I think that that's what they were doing in animated studios was doing that, and then because of the news that they weren't going to be doing any work for any animated work for Disney Plus, really what it was saying was that they're not going to be doing any animated long form content created exclusively for Disney Plus. That's huge difference. Let's talk about that. What that means is that the animated studios is going to be working on long form content created that like movies that they're going to be putting on in theaters. So they're going to be they're going to be bringing out new movies like we've been waiting for a very long time. Let's get back to making animated movies and not redoing movies that are redone by putting humans in the and as the characters. Let's get back to the good old part that Disney used to make animated movie features and get them back in theaters. Let's win everybody back with brand new content. What an idea. And while we're at it, we release them as we were doing in the beginning in the movie theaters, and then as they come out later on, they'll hit Disney Plus. It's a no-brainer. No brain. It's a no-brainer. Um, it's a win-win, win-win. It makes people get Disney Plus, watch all that content, and then wait for it to come out like everybody else does. And then while you're making the movie, you get everybody to go to the theaters and make them box office money, and then get it on like it used to be on Disney Plus. And then they can watch it over and over and over and over and over again. Because they're not making movie money. The movies are not making money on Disney Plus when they release them there. That's been part of the huge problem. So I agree with this wholeheartedly. And I don't think they're going to stop making, all these animated series that are staying on Disney Plus because they got rid of like the Disney Channel. They had all sorts of animation stuff for kids and whatnot. It was fun, but they gave up that and put all the content back on Disney Plus. You can watch it. So I think that we have to make sure when we are reading articles from any news source about Disney other than Disney itself, there are many articles that come out and they have these clickbait titles that want to make things that are sound detrimentally that are creating havoc and thinking the worst about what's going on at Disney, and that's not the fact. We'll take one thing and turn it into something else just for hype. And that's why you have to read the articles. And they're hard to read sometimes. A lot of the websites you go to, they get the news articles. You have to read. It's like a one sentence, and then there's a bunch of clickbaiting ads. This is almost on every site that I've been to. They all have ads. I think they're all working on ads. More ads than you can come up with. And their content is slim but anything because they're producing 20 to 30 stories a day about something or other. And some of it is old news even. So I'm just telling you, that I scourge. I go through and I sort through all of these news sites and I read them, and the amount of content that I can get to bring to people is slim picking still, because all of them, anything that Disney has that comes out with something, they're just repeating the news like news people do. But then there's a bunch of opinionated content about what are the 10 best hotels. What do you think about this? I don't know if they're taking surveys or how they're getting up with doing this, or they're coming up with their own ideas. But I think that's why that the a lot of these stories on a lot of different websites is really, I think, discussing them, and with a and it's a great thing to do. And that's something that I want to do in the future here, is bring these stories and these article ideas, and kind of go through and have my own opinion about them, and then you could have your own opinion and it could become like a conversation. Anyways, so because there's so many things to talk about. One of the articles that I read recently talked about um where was it? Let me see if I can find this. It talked about, like, this great hotel here, I forget which one it is, about all these hotels that are outside the bubble. Well, the bubble, when we talk about the Disney bubble, that's an interesting thing. How far does the Disney bubble go until you're not into the Disney bubble? There's some people who think the Disney bubble is closer to the transportation and ticketing, uh, center, right? The TTC. Or is the bubble a little bit further? Does it go all the way out to Disney Springs and encompass anything that's on Disney property? Or does the Disney bubble expand outside on the main road that goes around outside the perimeter on World Drive, a little bit on maybe closer to I-4? I don't know. How far does the Disney bubble go? It's very an opinionated answer there. If you ask somebody. But anyways, some of these very, very close hotels are not on property. Some are, that are not affiliated, ran by Disney, like the Swan and Dolphin, or Shades of Green, which is a military morale, welfare, and recreation (MWR) resort for veterans and active duty military and their families, which has an exclusive golf course, by the way. And the other ones that are like the Drury Inn, that's the place where you get the hot dogs all day, the Drury Inn. I don't know. That's their thing, I guess. I don't know. But other ones that are really, really, really nice, you know, hotel chains that have really nice um rooms, not themed. You come back, you wanna like you wanna go to Disney, but then you're still on vacation. So, and they cost less sometimes, you know, all depends. But they have pools, and then the other thing is they have these are the hotels that are outside, have have Disney shuttles. Sometimes they have buses that take you there, and they pick you up at the resort at the different parks. So, yeah, there are outside hotels that cost less, that look spectacular, that are great places if you don't wanna spend the money. But I still am a firm believer that staying at even um, value resorts, All-Star Music, All-Star Sports, Pop Century, Art of Animation, those ones that are a little bit less money, the value ones, are worth your money if you don't mind the waits. I mean, there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of people who use the value resorts, and you get there's a lot of discounts that happen every single year. You just have to wait for them. That's one thing about being a DVC member. You can never take advantage of these 50% things off. I mean, not like I mean, we have already prepaid basically for staying somewhere. So I guess, you know, but yeah. Um, yeah. Anyhow, that's that's really all I had for today. Wow, it's been like how long has it been? 37 minutes. Not long. I'm gonna come back. We have some great big plans for future episodes, and I think I'm gonna make different, different thumbnails for these different these themed lives that I'm gonna start doing in the future. So stay tuned. Stay tuned about stay tuned about themed lives that are themed to talk about certain subjects on these Friday nights at 8 p.m. I think this is a better time to talk Fridays at 8. And then because nobody is going live in our little group here at Fridays at 8. And then at 9 o'clock, there's a bunch of other news stuff going on the Pete McDivitt show with a host of other people. Anyways, so if you liked all what we talked about and you like helping us and supporting us, it's completely free. You just have to hit the subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell so you don't miss out. Yeah. And we really appreciate everybody who comes here and watches things, no matter where you're from, who you are, or what it's all about. Anyways, and for today, since I really didn't prepare much. I don't know. I've been busy a lot, but with just general life. So we really appreciate everybody who watched and hung out, is rewatching. And for now, you know what time it is. It is the time. Over and out.